We are going to create the Tcode for class and methods, and we are also going to learn what is exception and how we can handle the exception in object-oriented programming. And also we'll see how we can raise our custom exception in our local class. So let's go and start. But before going, let's have a quick recap what we have done in our last class. So in last class, we have seen about the polymorphism. We have taken one example, and with the help of interface, we try to achieve the polymorphism. Then we have created one local class, right? And we have seen that how we can create the local class. So these two things we have done. This load, deferred, and exception handling we are going to cover today. So let's go and do this. What is this load keyword? So load keyword, generally we use this. However, this has been obsolete basically. But what was the use of this particular keyword? Whenever you access any static component of a global class, then in previous version of ABAP, like if you see ECC 4.7 around like that, ECC 6.0 and all these things, this load keyword problem is not there. You don't have to use the load keyword. Automatically everything will be loaded. Then in previous version of ABAP, you won't be able to access directly. It will not recognize, okay? It will not recognize that class of which you are going to access the component. So what I mean to say here, let's suppose you have one class. So we have created several classes. Let's suppose this is one class we have, and I want to access the component. Let's suppose we have the method over here, some extra method, or maybe the static component. So let me see if we have some static component. So generally this problem occurs with a static component. Okay. So we have the instance. Let me create quickly one static component over here. A static method, just giving the name as a static method. It can be any method. Let's suppose add method we have, and static and public. Just save it, check the syntax, and activate this one. So now if you go to the program and try to access this program, ZOO ABAP and DAY6, click on this create button. So what was the problem used to happen? That let's suppose if you want to access this particular method, so you have the add method over here. So in previous version of SAP, it will not recognize, it will tell that what is this, So in order to avoid that one, we have to use the class name load. Okay, so the class name and load keyword we have to use. The syntax is not proper, that's why it's coming into red. Let's check the proper syntax. Just press F1 and it will give us the proper syntax, and then we will use that. So here class definition, and we have to use the load keyword, I believe. So definition you just use, and now it's fine. If you check the syntax, there is no problem. So this is the syntax you have to use. Currently, even if you don't use the syntax, there is no problem because this is the latest version, and latest version, this is 6.0 onwards, some specific patch onwards, I believe. This problem is not there, but in previous version, in 4.6 and 4.7, like that, this is for sure. You must have to use. If you are accessing any static component, then you have to, means just in order to load the class, we use this particular load keyword. So if you see the documentation, press F1. This is the load, right? The variant of the statement class with the additional load are obsolete, right? Above compiler ignores this statement. Now it is not required. It has been obsolete. Previously, these statements were only required if the compiler of an above program failed to contain recursive access to a global class or a global interface. These types of recursions are now avoided, and a class or an interface is loaded automatically when a component first access. These variants of the statements class and interface can also be used in context other than the context described in the. So whole milling of all this recursion and all, we don't have to go into those part. The problem used to happen, it is not to understand what is this class. So for that purpose, we have to load this into memory. Fine. This is one point. This is what the use of load keyword. Now just go back and we will see the deferred keyword. What is deferred keyword? So this is very important keyword. This deferred is very important keyword. Oh, how to use this one, we are going to see. Click on the save button, save, and click on this OK button. Come here, let's suppose you have the two class, okay? And so actually this is, you have a class A over here, and you have another class B over here. And what you want to do, you want to use this class B inside the class A, okay? This is your requirement. So let's define one class A with some dummy methods. Class A and definition and end class. Here you have some public section, and here you want to create one geo underscore objb type ref to class, type ref to B, this class B, okay, this class B. So let me follow the proper naming convention, CL underscore B, right? And here this is class B. Fine. So what it will tell now, if you check the syntax, it's telling that CL underscore B is not known, right? So just I'm going to define this class CL underscore B definition end class. And here, let's suppose you have some methods, add, importing two parameters, IAM underscore X, type int 1, and IAM underscore Y, type int 1. And exporting parameter you are having, let's say, EV underscore total, type int 1. Same thing, right? So this is the methods what I have defined it over here inside this class. You must have to give this public section, protected section, and private section. So this is what we follow the general practice. Okay. Pretty printer, check the syntax. And now if you check the syntax, though this class underscore B is defined here, still the system is telling, this CL underscore B is not. Sorry. Still the system is telling that CL underscore B is not identified by the compiler, right? So in this case, you have to tell to the compiler in advance that boss, it has been defined somewhere else in the program. Okay. So in order to tell it this, you have to tell that class CL underscore B definition, referred class CL underscore B definition referred. So some problem is there. Let's check the syntax. Press F1. So syntax should be correct. Okay. Otherwise, it will give us the problem. So just search here for referred parameter above language element class methods. Let's see, class method. Sorry, deferred. It's the referred, not it's the deferred. Okay, it's deferred. Check the syntax now. And now if you see that now also it's giving some problem. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so at least the previous problem is now gone, right? You can see that earlier it was not able to identify. Now it's telling class B definition does not have a implementation. That's perfectly fine. We will be going to do the class CL underscore, just put it class CL underscore B implementation and end class. So method, what we have, method we have add over here, end method, and what's the importing parameter? Am underscore X and am underscore Y. So EV underscore total equals to am underscore X plus am underscore Y. So we have implemented the class now, right? Class A also, if you want, you can implement. Let's go and check the syntax. Now for class A, it's not asking to have the method implementation as mandatory, at least in this version, right? But we can do so. So if you want to use the implementation of this one, let's go and create the CL underscore A implementation and end class pretty printer, and here we can write the implementation. So there is no method here as such. That's why I think it was not telling us to create the implementation, right? So not required. Just I wanted to show you that what kind of issue comes. Even if you keep this one, there is no problem. Okay. If you check the syntax, there is no problem. Activate this one, activate. You got the problem? If you are going to comment this one, can you tell me, is it going to give me the error? Right? Just right here in the chat box, I'm just going to, comment this one. It will give you the error, right? Why? Because here I'm using the reference of class underscore B, and this class underscore B is not is defined later, right? After class A definition. So just in order to make the system understand that class underscore B has been defined later in the class, we use this deferred keyword. So if you check the syntax, it will give you the error that CL underscore B is unknown. So this is the use of deferred keyword. So just I'm going to, so in the coming classes, I will be using this deferred keyword, right, in this scenario. So hope you got the point. Okay. Now we have the exception. Very okay. Before going to the exception, we have one more topic: how to clear the transaction code for class and method. So let me quickly go and show you. Let's suppose sometimes you have created some class and method. Directly you want to use that methods. So go to the this one, and let's suppose this is one global class, right? And if you want to test this class, right? So directly standalone also you can test this class without creating the report or using the report, right? As of now, what I have been doing, I have been creating the global class and using this global class into our report, right? But like if you don't want to do like that, let's suppose I'm having some parameter am underscore a and am underscore y type, just give importing parameter here int 1 int 1, and here ev underscore, let's suppose total is the exporting parameter. And so this data type I have just put it. Okay, save it, go to the methods, double click over here, and ev underscore total equals to im underscore x plus am underscore y. I just want to test this method. So a standalone also we can test this one without using the report. How to do that? You just simply you can run this one. You just click on this run, and here you can see that add is coming over, right? So click on this and it will ask for the parameter, give 23 and maybe 45, and when you are going to run it, it will give you the 68. Just run it and you can see that. So here itself you can also test it. Okay, by the way, what is this one? This method was the static method, right? This method was the static method. So when you are creating this one, right, when you are creating this one, directly here we are able to execute this, right? Directly here we are able to execute. If you can see that in am1, here we have another method class a method am1, and here you can see that another method we are having, however it is not written anything over here, but we have the method, right? Why this is not coming? Any one of you can tell me? Here when I'm running, this is not only the add method is coming. Any guess? Just put here in the chat box if you know. Very good. Prabhakar is telling instance method. Very good. You got the point, right? See, this add method is the static method, right? So you know that add method you will be able to access through the class name directly. So the add method is coming over here. In order to use the instance method or instance component, you should be having the instance of the class. How you can create the instance of the class? Here we have the option given here itself. You have the option given. Just you can click on this particular button and you will be able to create the instance. As soon as you will be able to create the instance, you can see that this interface is also coming over here, the method is also coming over here, right? And if you just go and check the class, just go here, and this is the public, right? This is the public, this is the interface method, right? This is the interface method. So the same interface is coming over there, right? So click on this, and if you just click on this, see here how it's coming, attribute and methods, everything is coming over here. So what I did, if you want to test the instance method without using the program directly, right, you can use. So just run the class, click on this instance method if you want to test the instance method, right? So through the instance method, will you be able to access the static method or not? Tell me yes or no. Through the instance through the instance of the class, will you be able to access that? Yes. So there you will be able to see add method as well. Okay, there. So if you click on this instance, you will be able to see this add is also coming over here, right? Because through the instance, you will be able to access the static component of the class as well. And this is also there, right? So if you click on this, you can see that two attributes, which is defined this for particular interface that is coming. And these two methods also, it's coming over here, am1 and am2. Let's suppose I want to test this particular method. So if you run, you can see that class A method am1, the right statement I have written, and this is what it is printing, right? If it is not making clear, let me make it clear. Come here and here give some color so it will be visible. Okay, color 6 and class A standalone testing, standalone testing. Save it, and something also I'll be writing in class B, method 2 also I'll be writing. Okay, so method 2 am2, and color just I will change something, maybe it. Activate this one. Some error is there, it's telling okay 0 to 7 only we can use. Check the syntax, activate this one, activate, and this is now fine. So let's go and test this one. Click on this instance and come here. So attribute A1 and A2 is there, that's fine, and AM1 and AM2. So now if you run this one, see here at this point of time nothing is there. When you run, see here class A method AM1 standalone because of the write statement, right? So you understood like the meaning over here, the second method is getting called. So what I'm trying to tell is standalone also you can test. Now tell me, is it clear for you over here? Are you able to understand the concept, what I'm trying to tell you? If you are able to follow, please write yes or just type Y in the chat box. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Now what actually I want to share with you that if you want to access this method directly with the help of Tcode, that is also possible. So what's the Tcode to create the transaction? Please tell me. AC93, right? So you'll be going to the AC93 ZOO ABAP, some transaction I want to create. So DAY6, this is the name of the transaction. Okay, click on this create button, and here you can see that several options are coming, right? Transaction for class and methods. So here the third option you have to select method of a class. It's very simple to create, but you should know something over here. Class name, just copy this class name over here, and what's the method you have? Let's suppose for this method I want to create. So give this method. What is this method? This is the static method. So if you have the static method, you have to remove this O transaction model, because O transaction model only considers the object instance method or instance component. If you want to access, then you can use this particular O transaction model. So if you click on this save button, see it's telling that is not an instance method, right? So just save it, this one, and what I will do that I will remove this. If you remove this one, it will not tell you any issue. See, there is no problem. And now this transaction code is created. This transaction code directly you can give to your customer, or you can directly use it if you find that this is directly going to accomplish your business requirements, right? So here it's giving some problem. Let's see what's the problem. Let me save it, run this one. It's giving me the problem, right? So what is the problem? Let's see. Some problem is there. Illegal method call with parameter. Okay, some parameter it's accepting it, it is expecting, so we have to give that parameter as well. Go to that SC93 once again, /n SC93. Go to display, and here it is expecting for some parameter. Okay, this is just I'm checking where we can give the parameter. But if you see, this is due to the parameter. Go to /n SC24 once again, and let me close this one. And if we remove this parameter, let's suppose just for the time being, I'm removing this, okay? Remove this one. And if we use this attribute, the global attribute, and one more attribute I will be creating over here, gb underscore total instance attribute, and then the public, and then int one, okay? And you can see that it's the longer name, so let's go and create the simple, alias for this. So attribute 1, attribute 2. So now it's fine. So for this longer name, I can use simply A1, and for this A2, we can simply use this A2. For method also, if you want to give, you can give M1 and M2 simply. Save it, check the syntax. So where it is there, field IAM underscore X is unknown. Let's see where it's telling. Yes. So here I'm just going to give those two attributes which we have defined. So let's give those, add down all those, parameters will be here. So at this moment, your alias is not taking into place because it is not saved. Let me save this. Now control space. Now also it's not coming. So directly what we can do, we can use this alias name A1 plus A2. That is also fine. Come here and go to add A1 plus A2. Directly alias name, I'm trying to use it. Check the syntax. But it's telling when within a static method, only static attributes. Okay, this add is the static method, right? So that's why it is not allowing me. So in the alias, come here. Here you won't be able to do a static and all those things. Here only the visibility and alias is fine. So go to attributes and quickly away. Create two static attribute. Static A1, and then the static here public static attribute to static and public, right? It's not allowing me because we already know that inside the static method we will not be able to use the instance component, right? And due to that limitation, it's not allowing. Now I have created a static attribute, and this attribute we can use it over there, right? Just save it. And that's the reason when I was doing the control space, it was not that suggestion was not coming, right? So double click once again. Here we have already done, and double click over here and control space, just to go down, and here we'll be having our attributes, right? It's not coming. Let's type it total, and this is now your static one. Let's go and check. Now also it's not, no, it's coming, right? Control space, it's coming over here, sta1. this is coming, right? sta1 plus sta2. So the two attributes we are having over here, these two attributes we are going to use. Check the syntax, and total is unknown, gv total in fact. Okay. And now you can see that error is gone. There is no parameter in this. Just go back, activate once again. Now we are coming here and just save it, check the syntax, it looks good, run this one. And now this time it is fine. It's not giving us any problem. So, but it is not giving any output also, because why? There is no write statement. So just to give the write statement over here, gv underscore total, check it, activate this one. So if you now going to run this, see the problem why it's not giving the output, because there is no output value. That's why. So sta1 and sta2 equals to 10 we can give. Pretty printer, check the syntax, activate this one. We'll put the breakpoint also. It should trigger that, okay? And you can see that it's triggering this particular statement, and come here, gv underscore total 15, and this time it should print the output. Okay, it's not printing the output. It should print the output basically. What's going wrong? Okay, I will check that one, but it's running, right? Right, gv underscore total control, at least it's coming over here, but it's not printing. My expectation is that it should print the output. Okay, it should print the output, and here we are able to see the output it is printing, but it's calling that particular method. Now how to call the instance method? So here you can see that this is your instance method we have, right? So we can copy this and give this instance method over here. When you have to call the instance method, you have to select this. Okay, and now click on this save button. This is only the difference. When you have the static, remove this. When you have the instance, we can use like this. Okay, and run this one. So let's go and put the breakpoint over here and run this. So you can see that it's triggering this one, but the problem that it should display the output. So I think let's see by selecting this one, run this. It should come, actually the output should also come, as I remember. Okay, I will check that part. Fine. So hope you got some idea how to create the class and class method. It's triggering, but the problem is that it's not giving us the output. Okay, it is not giving us the output. So now this part is done. I will check why it's not giving the output, and I will let you know. Okay, exception and exception handling. What is this exception and exception handling? So exception and exception handling, let me first go and create one small program, and I will show you what we are talking about the exception and exception handling. You may come across so many exceptions, right? In real time scenario while maybe creating some program, right? So how to handle those exceptions in the object oriented programming? Click on this create button, and we are going to see the exception handling. Exception means short runtime dump. So if some dump is coming with the exception, how we are going to tackle that, right? So come here, and we are going to create some class. So a very popular example for exception, we already know, right? That whenever we are going to divide anything with the 0, it's going to give us the exception, right? So let's create one class math definition, and inside this class math definition, under the public section, we are going to define one methods called divide, importing parameter arm underscore val1 type I. Also we can use im underscore val2 type I also, that's fine, or into one, into whatever you like. Okay, then the exporting parameter ex underscore result type I. So this is what we have, one method definition and end class. Now the implementation we are going to create and end class. Let me follow cl underscore math, a proper naming convention. It's always good to follow the proper naming convention. So now method divide definition, right? Here definition is not required. And here we are going to write the logic to divide. So ex exporting parameter ev underscore result, not ex underscore result, ev underscore result equals to arm underscore val1, and just divide it by arm underscore val2. I want to test this one, right? Some error is there, last statement not complete. Yeah, put the full stop, period was missing, right? So a simple example we have done. Now create one program, create two parameters, p underscore val1 type I, and parameters p underscore val2 type I, right? And what I want to do, that I want to create the object of this class math, and I want to call this divide method so that I can test it. Okay, so data go underscore math equals to new cl underscore math full stop go underscore math control space and divide, right? And here we are just passing p underscore val1 and p underscore val2. And beauty of class method is that directly here you can use the inline declaration. So gv underscore result, directly we can use it over here, and we can print also. So gv underscore result, some color we can give to beautify it, activate this one, dot activate, put the breakpoint over here, run this one, and let's see. So 3 plus 5, I'm just going to add it. 3 plus 5, it should give the output as 8. Object is got created, right? It's calling this particular method, and ev underscore result after this, sorry, it's a division, right? 3 divided by 5. So what it's going to give? 0, right? It will give you the quotient. So ev underscore result will be 1. Why? Because value 1 is 3 and underscore value 2 is 5, right? Ev underscore result is giving 1. How it is possible? 3 divided by 5, quotient will be 0, correct? Value 1, value 2. Okay. Anyway, it's just dividing and giving us the output. But something is wrong. 3, let me put it once more. So here we are passing this one, value 1, value 2, right? Value 1, you can see this 3, and this is the 5. 3 divided by 5. So EV underscore result, it should be 0, right? Or this is correct? Yeah, GV at EV. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is EV underscore REC, right? It should be EV underscore REC, and EV underscore REC we are getting in GV underscore RES, right? This is the integer data type. And whenever we divide anything, what it's going to give? Here, it's going to give the quotient, right? If it is integer also, okay, okay, fine. This is how it's giving the output. So Venkat is telling if we are going to use the mode, then it will be, so in mode it will give the quotient, but in division, when we are dividing anything, then also it should give the quotient only, right? I'm not sure, getting confused. Okay, not an issue. So come here, and this time what I will do that I will give some another value. Maybe here I'm going to give 30, and here we will be giving uh, here we will be giving 30, and here we will be giving the 10. Just run this one and come here, press F5, and this is the 10 again, and this is the 30. So again I think it will give, this time it is giving 0, right? This is fine. This is what I was expecting in earlier case also. Value 1 divided by value 2, it should be 0. So this is fine. Okay, and 0 it's printing. Now I'm giving again once 3 and this 5. So go here and value 1 and value 2, right? So I think it's a 0.6 is greater than 0.5, so it's just rounding up with the, you know, upper value, right? So 3 divided by 5, it will be what? 0.6, and 0.6 is more near towards the 1, so it's rounding up with the 1. This is the reason what I, yeah, packed with the packed data type, it will be working fine. There is no issue, you know, it will be giving you the correct this thing. So it's just giving the quotient, right? It's just giving us the quotient, but it's rounding up because we have the integer data type. So now I believe it got clear for you also, for me also. Okay, so and when we are using the 30 divided by 50, when we were using this, you know, here we were using the 10, and when we were using 30 over here, what in that case it was happening, 10 divided by 30, it will be somewhere 0.33, right? And 0.33 is near to 0, and that's where it's giving the 0. So if you want to get the exact value, maybe we'll have to use the packed data type. So packed data type is going to, we can define the decimal up to 2, and then the basic above the, which already we know. Sorry. So now what actually I want to tell it, let's suppose we want to divide this 10 with 0. In this case, it's going to give us the dump, right? Because we cannot divide any value with 0, right? 10 divided by 0 is not possible. That's where the limit concepts comes into the picture in the mathematics, right? So here if we go press F5, you can see that this is what it's coming. And here if you observe, this is compute integer 0 divide, this is runtime error name, this is the name of the exception, cxi 0 divide, this is the name of the exception, and the program name, it is there, application component, and when the date and time when it has given the dump, right? So these are the three components. The exception one is the important one. So suppose if you want to handle this particular exception, how you can do so. Okay. So come here and I will show you how we can handle this particular exception. Go to SC38 once again, go into the change mode, and here when we are dividing, you can use the try and catch block in order to handle the exception. So try and catch and entry. So the exception name already I have copied this. Just I think I missed to copy that name. By the way, I remember the name of that exception, CX underscore psi 0 underscore divide. This was, I believe, this one. Okay, this was the name of the exception, CX underscore psi underscore 0 divide. So just you have to copy the name of the exception from there and you have to put it over here. Okay. Yeah, Eric. Yes, we can do that one also. Yeah, you are right. We can do also that one, but that is not, that is a traditional way of handling the exception. That is also fine. You are just avoiding to have the exception. But here, this is the scenario when the exception is occurred. Then how you will handle that? This is that scenario. There you are avoiding the exception to have by checking. So what Eric is telling that check this IAM underscore value 2. If it is 0, then don't perform this activity, right? So that we are avoiding, you know, that we are taking the precaution. So that is also fine. But here the question is how we can handle the exception. So to handle the exception, put inside the try and catch block. This you have to catch it like this. Check the syntax now, activate this one, and this time if you see that it will not give you the error, right? So if you just run this one, and denominator, if you see 0, it's there, but still it will not give the error. Why? You can see that one exception got occurred and we are using this catch statement in order to catch the exception. Okay, so now just press effect. So from where we copied the exception, I will show you. Let us get the occurred. This exception, or also you will be having all the exception in transaction called ST22, right? All the dump, we can see it over here. So just I got that dump and it will be here. Just click on this start, right? The runtime error, and this is the exception. So from here you can copy the exception, Control Y, Control C, you can copy, or you can just, if you are coming here, here also you will get. So this particular screen you will get when the exception will occur. You have to copy this exception, and this exception you have to put inside the catch, right? Got the idea? So Akash is telling you got Raj, correct? Akash, is it the only way to get the exception names? This is how I get the exception. Yeah, there can be, see, you can know the exception, there can be many exception, but what it is occurring at runtime, this either you can get through the documentation, right? So if you can get through the documentation, or at runtime, if you are getting the exception, you can copy the name of the exception, and this is how you can handle this one. So then we had a scenario. You see, once it will move to the production, and if you want to do some changes, you have to again take it through the development system only, right? If the exception is occurring over there, either you avoid the exception by passing the correct data, or let's suppose if it is unavoidable, then obviously there you don't have any choice. You do the code in the development and then you pass it over there. Okay, there is no other way. So here, now you got, now I want to handle the meaningful message. So in order to handle the meaningful message, what we can do that, see, this exception is nothing but it is a class. If you double click over here, it will take you through the class interface. See, so all the exception is having its root class as cx underscore root. Okay, so if you see here, go to properties, this is its super class, just double click over here, again it's super class, double click over here, and you can see that cx underscore. Whatever you are having the exception, all the exception are having the super class cx underscore root. Got the point, right? All the, I will be talking about this. Okay, so cx underscore root, that is the parent of all the exception. Again, cx underscore root has been divided into three parts: cx underscore static, cx underscore dynamic, and cx underscore no check. Okay, so this is dynamic one, and again this dynamic is getting inherited to arithmetic error. More specific, you can see that this is related with the mathematical calculation, arithmetic calculation, right? So this exception has been categorized into this, and how to define and all, when I will let you know how you can create the custom exception. However, I think that is not part of our class, but I will show you quickly, maybe tomorrow. Okay, so how actually it happens, see here, you have one exception over here. If you come here inside these types, go to the methods. Okay, and this is the constructor. Here you can get the get text, long text. Here it is not defined, it will take it from the parent one, right? And if you go to the attribute, here your exception, see, cxi0 divide is defined over here in terms of attribute. So when you are creating your own custom exception also, we are going to define inside the attributes only. Okay, inside the attributes, and inside the text you can define your exception id and text over here. This is how, in the same way we are going to do also when you are going to create one custom exception class. Okay, and if you want to give the long text, you can click on this long text, and here you can give the long text for the different exception. So here there are three exceptions. One is cxi0 divide, another is the cxi arithmetic error, and another is the cx underscore root. So these three exception you can handle. Okay, you can handle these three exception for this particular class. That means because the three is defined over there. Now how to handle we have seen, but if you want to find out the text, right, means what was the actual error and why it is occurred, right? So that text also you can print this one. So text is coming on division by 0 type I. So this short text is coming from where? Basically it is coming from, basically it is coming from here, the cxi 0 divide. Go to this text, select this, and divide division by 0, division by 0. This short text is coming from here actually. Okay, so now, and like if you check about the long text and all, everything comes from here. Either here it will come, or from here it will come. Okay, fine. Now go to the class once again. I have already opened. Come here, and this is the different one. Let me close this. Many sessions are opened. Just a moment. Yeah, /n AC38 and go into change mode. So what you have to do, I've shown you that this is a class, right? So we can create a reference of this class. So lo underscore exception type ref to this class name, right? Copy this and paste it. So if you want to print the message for that purpose, I'm telling, okay? And here you can write into clause, create the object also, create object lo underscore exe and give this a state over here. So what will happen, whatever the exception you have, catch it, you are going to put inside this object and this you can print it. Okay, so lo underscore exe and get underscore text. Check the syntax, activate this one, and now just if you want to, you can put the breakpoint here. Run this one and give the 0. So 10 divided by 0 again it should give the error. So creating the exception object, that's fine, and press F6, and here it will give you the exception. We are catching the exception here. Also you got one exception got occurred, right? And in debugger also you can see the last exception object display trigger location. This becomes very handy in the support project if you somewhere getting the exception and all, you know. So you can click on this and it will tell you the last exception object which is got called. So here also you can see that the exception name is coming. So your exception is nothing but your class, right? So your class name is coming. So a display trigger location where it was triggered, that also it will show you. See, it is showing in the red. So this option becomes very handy. See, in the red it is showing that here your exception got triggered, right? Fine. So here the control has come, and now in this object, if you double click over here, all the attributes will find it over here, right? So see, these are the attribute. Method you will not be able to see it over here. In this particular object, if you put the cursor, it will tell you. So green represents the public, red represents the private, and yellow represents the what? Protected. Here there is no yellow, but if some yellow is there, that means protected. Here there is no protected, that's why it is not showing up. So red means private. This is the visibility of an properties. Okay, properties. So all these are properties basically. Text ID, previous, kernel error ID, these all are properties. Okay, so if you static or instance, that you will be able to see from here. So if you put the cursor, it will give instance. So in green, whatever the green it's coming, it is the instance, and this is static. Okay, so only attribute you will be able to see it over here, not the method attributes, because that will only make the sense. What you will do if you, by knowing the name of the method here, right? If you want to know the name of the method, you can go and check in the class. Here runtime value will be there in the attributes, and that's where we have the attribute. See, this is the with reference to a class, this particular attribute with reference to a class. That's why it is showing like this in the inside the curly braces. So whenever you see something inside the curly braces, that means that is referring to a class. Okay, here this is the plain structure. If you double click, it will give you the data, program ID and connection ID, right? So similarly, like here you can see this is again this is your root class, this is your subclass of this root class, this is your again the subclass of this. So this is how you can identify. See, object is the root class of all the classes. Object is the root class of all the class. That's why you can see that object is coming on top, right? Cx underscore root is the all the exception class, right? And object is for all. So object will be on the top, but this you don't have to take care. From here our work is going to start. This is the system class. Okay, system class. From here our work is going to start. Cx underscore root, this cx underscore dynamic check, cx underscore arithmetic error, cx underscore, this one is the current one, right? So all the class name and their attributes, all the class name and their attributes, all the class name and their attributes, the class name and their attributes will be shown over there. Okay, you got some idea how to check in the debugger. Okay, are you getting? If you have any doubt, you can start writing here in the chat box. Okay, so here now this time what it will do, it will call this method and it will print the data. Which data it will print? The same under the text I have shown you. See, the program is getting called and it's going to give you inside the result division by 0, and that it is going to print. So division by 0, right? Division by 0, it's giving the exception division by 0. So division by 0 is not possible. That's the exception we are getting. If you want to get the long text, so long text option also you are having. Okay, so SAP has given all the option. We have to use this one. So get long text. Okay, if you want to see the new line also, that also you can print it. So now just run this one, give this 10 divided by 0, run this one, run this, and long text this time. You tried to divide by 0 during the operation this, right? So please don't do. And if you want to put your own message, that also you can put it. After that write a statement, you put it over here that I'm just writing here the custom message division by 0 is not possible. Just save it, check the syntax, activate this, run this one, give 10 divided by 0, right? It will tell you that. So a standard message as well as our custom message, both will be printed. You try to divide by 0 during the operation. This is a standard message, and the custom message I'm printing this. Custom message division by 0 is not possible, right? And then the value automatically it will come because here we are printing the value. So that 0 is due to this. So this is the initial value. This is not this value basically. This is the initial value. So by default, the initial value will be 0. So this is how we can handle the exception. Okay. Yeah, we can use the new line over here. You can just simply put this and activate this one. The message will be coming into the new line. Okay. So this is the standard exception and this is the custom exception. Okay, Oscar. Fine. Hitesh, is there a difference in writing exception in the class or where the method is called? Yeah, that we'll be talking about. Okay. So this point you understood, right? This point you understood that here we are trying to catch the exception and this is how you can catch. Now let's suppose if you want to catch the exception outside of this method. Okay. Let's suppose if you want to catch this exception outside of this method. So I'm just commenting this one. Okay, I have commented this. And what actually you want to do that when you are calling this particular method, you want to put inside, you want to do like this. Okay, you want to handle the exception over here, not inside the method. We are trying to handle the exception outside of the method from where we are calling. So when I'm trying from here, we end writing and catch, right? So this is what I'm doing it. Pretty printer, check the syntax. Hello exception. Let me copy this and put it. Okay, inside the method. This also I have to remove, right? Come here and create the object. Now you can see that there is no error, right? So what actually I'm doing, again the same thing I'm doing, but instead of writing that catch, I'm writing the catch outside of that method. See, this method is I'm calling here and I'm trying to catch the exception over here. Will it work? Any guesses over here? Would you like to do the guess? Anything is fine, Oscar. Okay, depends on your requirement. Venkat is telling yes, it will work. Okay, other people, Eric is telling yes, it's work. Fine, let's go and see. Let's go and see how it is going to do. So I'm going to put the breakpoint over here and press F8, give the 10 and 0. Press F5 and I'm just going to press F5. Here the exception is going to get raised and let us see what happening. And you can see that it's not able to handle the exception, right? So your guess was natural. You have given the correct guess, but this is not happens in the real time. It will capture, but we have to tell to the system in advance, that this exception can occur. Okay, so when you are defining the method here, you can use a keyword called raising keyword. And what kind of exception can occur? Cx underscore psi underscore 0 divide. So 0 divide. This is what we are. This exception can occur, right? Because arithmetic operation we are performing and anything division by 0 will happen, then this exception can occur. So whenever you are defining the method at that point of time in well advance, tell to the compiler that this exception can occur, and now it will work. And if you see now, then it will work. Yes, you can create. Okay, for the exception you can create. Okay, so just run this one. 10 divided by 0 again I'm just going to do, and let's see this time. Press F5, and here it's going to give the exception. This time it will not go into dump because raising keyword I have used over here. So press F5 and you can see that this time exception was properly catched, right? Here it is, control is coming, and now you can see that I'm able to handle the exception, right? So this is how you can handle the exception outside of the method. You have to tell to the system that system, there is a possibility that the exception can occur. Okay, if you are not sure about what kind of exception is there, you can try with cx underscore root and it may work. Let's go and check it. So what it's telling, the class cx were not derived from, okay, I think only the class which is derived from cx underscore static check or cx underscore dynamic check. So let me try with dynamic check over here. If you can put, check the syntax. Cx, raising cx underscore dynamic check. Okay, here it's not creating any issue. Let's go and check. So this is more generic, right? This is more generic. This is what we know already, right? So come over here and let's give a try. Run this one, and 10 divided by 0. Just run this and let us see what it happens. Let's say F6 and come over here, F5. The exception will be given, right, at this moment, F5, and you can see that it's able to capture this. So here, this is the right time where I can tell you what are the different types of exception. So there are three types of exception basically. Means exception has been categorized. So maybe better I can write like this: cx underscore root is the parent of all the exception. Okay, superclass for all the exception, and this has been further categorized into cx underscore static, cx underscore dynamic, cx underscore dynamic check. Okay, cx underscore static check, and cx underscore no check. So 3 cx underscore no check. So these are the three different subclass. So cx underscore root is what? The parent class of all the exception. This is nothing but your class. So cx underscore static check will be also inheriting from cx underscore root only, and cx underscore dynamic, and then the cx underscore this. So here I'm able to use the cx underscore dynamic underscore check, right? Cx underscore dynamic underscore check. Why? Because if you see cx psi 0 divide, that is the exception which is occurring in case of division by 0, cx psi 0 divide, right? This is the exception. This is inheriting from where? This is inheriting from here. Okay, dynamic check. So either you use this one or you use cx underscore dynamic check. So upper till here you can use cx, because cx underscore root is not supporting, right? Till here cx underscore dynamic check we can use, or you know the exception name exactly, you can use it inside the raging clause. Are you getting what I'm trying to make you understand? Is it okay for you? Just write here in the chat box yes if you are, if I'm making the sense. Okay, so inside the raging, just you have to tell cx psi 0 divide or cx dynamic check. Till here we can use, right? So if there are a lot of exceptions inside the cx dynamic check, we can use the cx dynamic check. Probably in the same way you can use. I have never tested, but I think for the static check also we can use in the same way. Please go and check this one. You have to do some experiment. There are so many things in object oriented above. Okay, whatever the important stuff here we are having, we are just discussing. Mostly we are going to come across through all these things. Fine. Now let's suppose if you want to display your quick custom exception. Quick means you don't want to create your your own custom class. You can create your own custom class, that is fine, we can do. I will show you how to do that. But let's suppose if you want to perform a quick custom exception, right? So do you know in the function module how we do? In function module also we can create the exception, right? So if you take any of the function module maybe, and here if you go inside the exception tab, here this is how you give the exception and you give the short text, and if something happens bad you raise the exception, raise program underscore error, right? And in the calling program you set the size subversive for this function module. In the same way for class method also we can do. I will show you how we can do this. So let's go and give some exception. Okay, so what I will do that inside this method we are having, right? So this catch is fine, this is the standard one. I want to display my custom exception, so just going to comment this also. Okay, and here I want to display my custom exception. So when we have to display our custom exception, what we can do, we can define the exception first. Okay, we can define the exception first. Where you can define the exception first? You can define the exception here in the parameter exceptions, right? In the function module also, if you have observed, they have defined it under the parameter only, right? See, in the function module parameter, exceptions is also one of the parameter. So when you are defining the method, in the same way here also you can define your custom exception. So just giving my custom exception. Okay, my c custom exe exception, just I'm giving like this. Okay, and this exception I can raise it. How we can raise? Go to this divide, and here itself we can write if im underscore val 1 is initial, and if, then you can use the raise keyword, my cexe, like that you can. So I'm telling to the system, if this is initial, then you raise a exception, because sorry, value 2, right? Value 2 is the denominator over here, right? So if this is initial, then raise this exception, and inside this exception, when we are calling, when we are calling here, you can set how you are calling over from here. So exceptions, and what's that exceptions? My custom exceptions, you can set it any value over here, let's suppose 5, right? And here you can write if size of rc equals to 5, then I can write that please do not pass 0 as denominator. So this is how you can handle a quick way without creating the custom class. So this is known as conventional, exception, conventional way of doing the exception. This is not the object oriented way of giving the exception. Object oriented way will be always having the class based exception, right? So this is non-class based exception. In function module, what you have? Non-class based. This is no class is involved over here. This is just a generic way, conventional way of giving the exception. Class based exception I will show you maybe in the tomorrow class. Okay, fine. So you got some idea. Please do not pass 0 as denominator. Now run this one, and if you keep this 10 divided by 0 and just run this and try to understand the flow, how it is working. Here press F5, come here, and when im underscore value t is initial, right? It is initial, so it will come over here and raise the exception. As soon it will raise the exception, you can see the size of RC got set 5. Why? Because here I have set 5 for my custom exception. This is also how you do in the function module, right? And here I'm checking if size of RC equals to 5, then I'm writing it over here. Please do not pass 0 as a denominator, and I will come from the program. So after this, I will write the return statement. Okay. After that, I will write the return statement so that it will come out from the complete program, right? So this is the way of how you can do, how you can handle the exception, how you can generate your quick custom exception. Please do not pass 0 as denominator. Right now 0 is not coming because we are getting return from there itself. So this write statement is not working, and that's why you are not able to see that initial value 0. This write statement is not getting printed. Is it okay for everyone? You got the point? And with this, we'll stop it over here today. Okay. If you have any query, just go ahead and ask. Everyone means you can unmute yourself and you can ask. Or you can raise your hand. I will unmute you. Yeah, Oscar, you have any question, Oscar? Yeah, you are unmuted. Yeah.
Thank you, Pankaj.
Yeah.
Can you give us a quick feedback about the use the reference in the class, so when we can use it?
See, one thing I would suggest. Let's suppose if you don't know this class name, okay? Let's suppose, okay, you are telling about the means this cx underscore root.
No, it's not about the section. The section is clear for me. It's about the deferred. When we are going to create in the at the beginning in the course, you're talking about the deferred load and deferred.
If I understood it right, Pankaj is asking about the deferred.
Deferred
keyword.
Okay. Deferred
in what case, Oscar,
okay,
am I right? Or I
yes.
even missed
deferred keyword. Okay, fine. Yeah, so see deferred keyword. See, let me comment this and see. Here in this class, you can see that this particular object type ref2, I'm writing CL underscore B. But
no, when are we going to use that? At what case use scenario will be when we will be using deferred? Why do we do like that in a business scenario?
So in the business scenario, let's suppose you have the material and plant. There are two classes you are creating. Okay. And both the class is having the association relationship. You are not having the you are not having the inheriting relationship, right? So here you are going to create the material, and later you are going to create the plant. And in plant you have to create the object of material class.
So we can inherit, right? At that time?
That's what I'm telling. This is not the inheritance relationship.
Okay.
This is so every time it is not necessary that you have to inherit the plant from material. It can be your association relationship also, right? Means your material class is different, your plant class is different, and you want to instantiate the material inside the plant. So you have to create the reference of material inside the plant in well advance. And for that purpose, how we will do? Or let's suppose vice versa. If both is going to have, so in design pattern, you will come across many times, whether it is observer or decorator or any kind of design pattern, many of the time, what you will have to do that if you have the two classes, then in one of the class, you have to take the reference of another class. In another class, you will have to take the reference of a first class. So if you're going to take the reference of this class into the second class, then there is no problem because already we are defining this one. But in the first class, if you want to take the reference of second class over here, because see, either you will be able to define anyone in beginning, right? Anyone is going to miss, right? So that how you will be do, how you are going to do. So you have to tell to the compiler in advance that, so that particular class we are defining in the later section of the program. Okay. So this is what. So one real-time example is that the material and plant, this association, like you have the plant class and material class there. You can use another, you can have, let's suppose you have a class called purchase order class and you have a sales order class, then or you have a delivery order class and you are creating a local program, and for all these three class if you like in suppose either you can put in the first place sales order or purchase order or delivery, any one of them you can put it, right? But let's suppose in the sales order you want to have the reference of purchase order, right? So how you will do? Again, you will have to use the definition refer, right? So many a time you will come across this scenario, right? All the scenario not possible for me to cover,
Okay.
better focus over here on the concept. And once you
Okay.
understand the concept, you will be able to implement in your real time. We are going to see the real time example also, and
No, Pankaj, the concept is very much clear, Pankaj. Why we are using, I mean, the example what you gave is very much clear. I
okay.
mean, at least for me, but I was thinking at what business scenario only to discuss. I mean, I was not expecting that you should show everything. The concept is really very much clear. Thanks so much for that. But just wanted
Welcome.
to understand on a
Yeah,
higher
sure,
level.
sure. So, so this is what there can be many different scenario, or you can even have a look in the SAP standard program, right? There you will be able to find. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, your question is valid, but the thing is that we are going to see some another example, a real time example, but that example is also not like a very complex example, because that complex example, it will take many days to cover the complex example. We'll be having some simple example, and that simple example, how we can convert into the object oriented way, so that the concept, my main motto over here, to make my participants the concept to be clear, so that when they come across any kind of requirement, they will be able to design the solution, and they will be able to implement. Even the complex requirement also will come, they should be able to do, they should be able to modularize the behavior, they should be able to put into a separate class, right? So let's suppose if you have the sales related functionality, you want to achieve the sales related report, so you will be obviously creating the sales one CL underscore sales order class, right? And in the sales order class, let's suppose if you have to get the detail of the sales order, so you'll be having one method called get ASO detail. If you have to create the sales order, create ASO sales order. If you want to be more specific, if you are going to inherit the sales order into, so once the business requirement will come into place, you will understand, okay, what should be your super class, what should be your subclass, and how it is going to be more specific, right? Oscar, you have any other question? Is it clear what I'm trying? Did you
Yes, I
understand this?
understood. No, I understood for what reason you are using this. It's
Yeah,
only in order to do to give some flexibility, right? Because you create the object in the class A definition, okay, go object, type reference to the class
right.
B,
And it is
but
here defined. Yeah,
B is defined later in the code.
later. Right, right. It has been
Right.
defined later in the call. So the system is not able to understand what is the CL underscore B. And
Sure.
for that to tell that it has been defined later in the class, we are using this.
But at this point, we are not able to implement the class A because class B is not defined right. It will be
Class A,
defined.
I don't require, because there is no method over here. If you
Yes.
have some method,
Okay. Okay.
we have to define this. So if you can put some method, some any method, some dummy method if you have.
But this
So
method has to be the class B.
yeah, so because this method is now defined over here, the system would like to have this method implementation. So sorry, methods, you have to use methods, right?
Okay.
This method
Okay. I got it. I got it.
and
It's
dummy,
independent for the class B. Okay.
right? And this is what you have to. So currently it's an MPT implementation, but that is also fine.
Okay, but we are not able to use go underscore object until we got the definition for the class B. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks Oscar. Raj, you have
Okay,
any other
case of
question? Yeah, Hitesh.
I'm good. I'm good, Pankaj.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you, Raj. Thank you.
this deferred
Right.
scenario won't come in the case of a global class, right? Or it will
Case of the global class means I didn't
scenario
get
won't
it.
come up, right?
See, in case of global class over there, generally this is I have used in the report. In a global class, I never. But there also you can have in a global class also. Let's suppose you have
Correct.
a
Yeah.
method, right? And in that method, if you want to uh, define some local class, right? Means the same code if you want to create in some method of the global class, right? You getting my point? It is.
Okay.
So same class, same kind of code you can write in the method also, right? This all these codes, apart from this startup selection, what we are using, this, at least this particular code you can write in any of the method. Just copy this one. Local method we can create inside the global method, right? However, it will not make more sense because already we are having. But let's
Correct. The class will be already there. So.
Right. But let's go into the change mode. And here, so this is one method we are having. Okay. And this is the static method. So I'm just putting this as an instance to avoid any kind of problem. And however, I have not used like this, but I think we can do this one. So class A definition, one local class I'm writing, one again the local class, this class B definition, this is another method, this is end class, and this is okay. Check the syntax. End method is missing. Method, end method, class, methods, method, end method. Yeah, just remove this one. Check this. So inside this method, some problem is there. GV underscore total. This again we'll have to define, or do we have already? I think this part we have already. Just let me comment this. Class, the statement end method is missing. Okay, so it's expecting. So inside this, I think will we not be able to do. Okay, inside the global class method, it looks like I have never done this experiment. That can we create the local class inside the global class? So
no,
it
for
is
method add, we don't have end method. You gave it at the end 52.
Where?
The scroll up.
Line number 52.
Line number 10, there is no end method. Line number
Line
10. For method add, there is no end method.
No, but means this class I want to define inside the method, right?
So everything inside the method, you want to define the class.
Yeah, inside the method, I want to define the class. So class A, and this is the class A implementation. So I think this is not possible, Okay, so just removing this one. Okay. So I think you will also not come across such requirement where you have to, if you have the global class, we can create the method. If you want to modularize here itself, we can create the method. Okay, Hitesh?
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good.
But generally this deferred kind of situation comes when you are creating the local class, right? And if you had to take the reference of another class into the first class, then this situation comes. Okay, Sandeep is telling friend is one use case where I use deferred keyword. Want to know any other use cases? Deferred in use is used in local class. Right, yes. Local class mostly means we come across the scenario in the local class where we have to do. Okay. Fine then. Sandeep, I'm not sure about your question. Are you asking to have some more example of the deferred class? Is it what you are looking for, Sandeep?
Yeah, I mean, I use the keyword deferred in friend use case. I mean, for example, if you
Okay,
want
you
to
have,
access the
okay.
private attributes of other class,
Mm-hmm.
this is one use case. So where I already used it. So
This
just
is
want
for
to know.
friend. No, friend is the different concept, right? From the deferred. Friend, this friend keyword, if you have used, the friend keyword is for to access the private attribute, right? There, this deferred, how it will help? This deferred.
I mean, if you have any other class already,
Yes.
so the definition we before the using friend, we use the definition deferred, the other class, second class, so that the implementation is not yet required at that point of time.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that is also one use case. Yes, Sandeep, what he is trying to tell Sandeep that let's suppose you have to use this class B and class A. These are the two classes, and inside this class A, you want to make this class B as a friend class, right? So if you directly go, so here you can see that I'm trying to create the object. Similarly, if I want to mark the class B as a friend class, so we have the syntax actually for the friend class. I don't able to remember.
I think after the definition, CL apply
No,
to.
the friend class. Yeah, here actually we have to give the friends class A definition friends, and CL underscore B is your friend class. Okay, let's suppose if you have this case, and if you don't give this one, then what will CL underscore B will be not understood by the system because CL underscore B is here, right? So if you check this, it will tell that CL underscore B is not known. So what you can do, you can comment this and check this. So this is what Sandeep is doing. Am I right, Sandeep? What you were trying to tell?
Yeah, exactly. So this is one use
Yeah,
case.
this is another use case. Yes. All right. Fine, then let's stop here. I believe I have given the answer of all the question.
Yes.
Fine then. Thank you for attending the session. Bye bye. Let's meet tomorrow. Maybe I'm not sure tomorrow. I'm not feeling well. I'm having some fever and cold. So I will inform you in case if any change will happen, maybe in WhatsApp or through the email, you will get the information. But most probably we'll be having the class. Okay.
Thank you,
Pankaj,
Pankaj.
Yeah.
you are sick. You have to let us know. I'm moving the class for the other day. You have to take rest. But thank you for help us
Yeah, Oscar.
today.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I'm able to manage. That's why I've taken. If I find like I'm not able to manage, then surely, yeah, I will be informing through this WhatsApp group. Everyone is there in the WhatsApp group, right? So
I'm supposed to.
yeah, so there you will be, or through the email also. I will be, or team will be sending the email. Okay, if something like
Okay,
I'm not able to conduct at all, then okay.
okay, Pankaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your cooperation, everyone. Thank you very much. Let's meet tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Pankaj.